What's up? This is Carter B, and this is part 1 of How I Got Shot 11 Times. I'm doing a 3-part series saying how I got shot, why I got shot, and then the verdict of the people who shot me. So I'm not saying no names or no places, exact places and stuff. Everything is going to be fake people names and stuff like that. So let's get right to it. So everything happened in December 2019. Around 8 o'clock, I'm chilling with some friends or whatever. One of my friends, she was like, oh, it's a mutual friend that we have that dances at a club. And she was like, oh, I'm about to go, celebrate with her tonight. I was like, yeah. So I told her about our little story that we had in the past or whatever, and how I met her or whatever. So I was like, yeah, it's cool, I'll go or whatever. So we go to the club. I ain't even had to pay to get in the club. She knew the person at the door or whatever. I ain't had to pay or whatever. Normal So that night, basically, spoiler alert, nothing happened that night. I didn't step on nobody's shoe. I didn't talk to no girl that, was there with somebody or no crazy back end story. So, time goes on the club. We probably got there probably around 12:30 or something like that. Like 12:30 or something. The club ended at 2. Last thing I remember was I'm walking out the club and I gave somebody a cigarette I know, and we was chopping it up. I might have dapped up a couple other people, but we was trying. The last thing I remember was the person I gave a cigarette, and I stepped off from him. Next thing you know, I'm waking up, a nurse is saying, you've been shot. So I don't even remember being, actually physically being shot because it was just unexpected. So I'm in the hospital. Nurse like, you've been shot. Breathing tube down my throat. And it was just like I was hot. I couldn't feel my legs. Can't talk. And so from the date that I got shot all the way up to 7 days later, one of my, I got big family coming in or whatever. I'm not seeing them or whatever and stuff because, I was going in and out of surgeries and stuff like that. But they was there. And so 7 days later, one of my best friends, he stays in Oklahoma now. He comes or whatever. He does a prayer for me. It was one of the best prayers I still heard to today. And it gave me real strength at that moment that I was in because I still got a breathing tube down my throat. And I got the nerve. I'm all high up off of meds and that they giving me. That's what I'm telling him I want to make a toast or whatever, just foolishness or whatever and stuff like that. He was like, yeah, when you get out of here, we're going to make a toast or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Or whatever. I'm not even saying, okay, cool, because I got a breathing tube down my throat. So this is 7 days. And so the whole time, these past 7 days, it's so annoying with the breathing machine. Because the breathing machine is breathing for you, and you gotta wait for it to breathe, and then your lungs to exhale and stuff like that. And so it's just super annoying. It's just you really putting your life's hands in the machine. I wasn't with it. So my high ass pulls out the breathing tube. I'm looking at the number saying that I see a top number, I see a bottom number. And the top number is a blue number, the bottom number is a red number. And so in my head, I'm thinking, oh, the blue must be oxygen, and the number was 74 or something. So these past 7 days was 74, it kept on growing. And I was like, okay. Actually, it probably wasn't even 7, it was probably in the 60s. But it kept on growing. So I was like, okay, that's my lungs getting better, so I really don't need a machine. I had it sold in my head. I knew what I was looking at and everything. So when that jump got up to 160, I took it out, but I didn't even yank it out all fast. I was just thinking that the tube goes right here. Nah, it actually goes all the way down, and it got these little dangly things at the bottom of it. And so when I pull it out, it's I thinking that's gonna be it. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I had to keep on pulling one of them clown jumps with the scarves. I just kept on. I had to pull. So when I pulled the jump, I went all the way through it, pulled it out. Alarms going off, ring, 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 ring. Alarms going off, alarms going off, alarms going off. And the nurses, everybody come in, they like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, whew, I can breathe. And mind you, for these past 7 days, I hadn't ate, drank nothing because, and I don't even know how many times I got shot. I hadn't even asked how many times. I just know I got shot. I can't feel my legs. It's hot. They trying to say I'm on MPO, OPR, something like that. That I can't. I'm on the list that I can't eat. So everybody else getting food trays and stuff or whatever. So I'm thirsty, hot, can't feel my legs. My legs feeling like nerves. Like what it feel like? It feel like somebody like smack you so hard. And like you just, it's that shock feeling. That's what it constantly was feeling like or whatever. Still to this day, it just feel like burning, constant like shock pain. Cause the nerves trying to reconnect or whatever. Cause one of the bullets hit my spine or whatever. So let me stay on track. So I pull it out. So they finally, so they was like, "Whew, you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, can I get something to drink?" So she gave me. I remember this was an achievement. This was a goal because I kept on was like, oh, I just want something to drink. I want like a ginger ale. I had this specific ginger ale that I actually wanted and that. But anyway, but they had given me some ginger ale with these little cotton swab, like little things like swabs or whatever that you could dip in water or whatever and swab or whatever so you won't be so dry. So I just remember she came out there with a cup with ice and the ginger ale. They got the Seagram's ginger ale. And so she had the little swabs in the jar. I remember I got one of those swabs and I was like, She was like, oh, it's good. I was like, yeah. Next thing you know, they took it away from me. They was like, I wasn't supposed to be eating or drinking nothing. Still. So boom, they took it away from me. So the next thing I remember, every day, it's like the same thing. Like I'm like every day, like all the band-aids that you have or whatever on you, like the bandages, they gotta be changed every day and stuff. So every day they was just changing my band-aids and it was hurting and it was hurting. They kept on telling me, press the button, press the button. And I was like, what kind of pain medicine is that? They was like, fentanyl. I said, fentanyl? I'm not no dope head. I was like, I'm not one of these ucks out here. I don't do no fentanyl. And it was like, no, it's good. I was like, no, it's not good. You got me out here on fentanyl. So anyway, for like probably like a couple of days, I was not trying to press that button because they can't press the button for you. So I was not trying to press that button at all. But it was so much pain, especially like this middle part because they didn't sew me open instantly because after they did their surgeries, there's so many surgeries. I had like 15 surgeries, not all back to back, but all in all, I had like 15 plus surgeries. But like the work that they had to do inside of me or whatever and stuff like that, they can't just left me open and just had put like a wound back on me just in case they had to go back in and do stuff. So I had to press the button. Wasn't trying to press the button at first. But let me try to tell you, when I pressed that button, I was pressing that button. They had, let me stop cutting. They had to take that button away from me. I was trying to press it too many times in 1 hour. So they actually took it away from me. And then, probably like a couple weeks, so probably like a month. It was like a couple, it wasn't no month. They took that, I probably only had it on my own reconnaissance of pressing it probably like 2 weeks. I'm not even for sure. Let's just say like 2 weeks or whatever. But and then one time, like I'm not paying attention to no clocks. I can barely see. Actually, at this point, like one point, I didn't even know I was laying down. I thought I was standing up. I thought they had me in the cannibal lecter restraining jump or something stood up. Because my mom said that the last thing my mind remembers was me standing up. So me like just being transitioned to me automatically laying down. My mind's like trying to compute. So the whole room looked like, so say for instance, I'm looking straight, right? This would be the straight would be my ceiling. So this ceiling, the straight would be my ceiling because I was looking up like this. So like, it was just weird, man. You see what I'm saying? This would be my ceiling and no.
6.5 hours later.
This back part, this ceiling would have been, I don't know, you get what I'm saying. It was all discombobulated. That's what I'm trying to say. So, So I started pressing. They took the button away from me, and they wanted to inject. So every time I wanted it, I had to call them. I had to do the call button for them to come, and I had to ask for my pain medicine because they said I've tried to tap it too many times in 1 hour, and I'm supposed to only have it like every 2 hours. But it got it blocked off that you can't OD, like it won't do it, like. But I wasn't paying attention to no time, and I'm like in a whole nother world. Like it was one part, like I felt like I had an out of body experience for real. Like it felt like I had went out the hospital. I had went through all of DC. I even went down U Street. I was going through people. I went out of DC. I went through like all the planets. It was like that thing off of Doctor Strange. When Doctor Strange got enlightened and she touched his forehead and he went through all it. That's how I felt like. I felt like I had went through. So boom. So I'm going through all of this. This whole time I'm not knowing nothing like why I got shot. Cause the only thing for the club I remember, everything was good vibes. I didn't talk to nobody I ain't supposed to or anything like that, or like a girl or anything. Like nobody came to me, stepped to me, checked for me or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a normal ass night. And so next thing you know, the detective, since I got the breathing tube out, I'm able to talk because before then I was just writing everything down to have communication. I'm halfway looking at the paper. I'm just like writing or whatever, and hopefully, but everybody was trying to decipher my hieroglyphics, and I actually got the writing still from when I was writing when I couldn't talk with the breathing tube. So anyway, the detective, he come see me. The detective, he come in, it's like the room is all dim, and he got like a raspy voice or whatever. And the first thing he asked me was like, do you have, and all these are fake names, so it's like I said, I'm not saying real names or real places. So he said, do you have any beef? And I'm like, no, I don't got no beef with nobody. And then he's like, do you have any beef with Lil JoJo or Lil Bobo? Do you know any of those names like that? I'm like, Lil JoJo, Lil Bobo. And then, then he tries to say where they from. Let's just say they from, let's say, King's Dominion. He was like, do you have any beef out King's Dominion? And at that point, I was like, I felt like Soulja Boy when they said Drake. I was like, King's Dominion? Like, what? King's Dominion, Lil Bobo, Lil JoJo? No, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lost, interrogation or whatever it's called when they come ask you questions. So I don't know, at that point he thought I was just trying to act dumb on the code or whatever or something like that. But I literally don't know nothing, don't know who these people are. Lil Bobo, Lil Drake, he's like, yeah, we feel like we know who they are or whatever. We got, footage from the surrounding, the club and the surroundings. And, basically they left out the club. They made a U-turn. They came back out up. They made another U-turn. They parallel parked in front of the club. They waited for 15 minutes for you to come out. And then they shot you. Or whatever when you stepped off from the person who you gave a cigarette to or whatever. So, next thing, they show me, he shows me, no, at this time he didn't show me the video yet. He didn't show me the video because they didn't have him in custody yet. But he said how he knew it was Lil JoJo and Lil Bobo and all that stuff like that. That an FBI agent was in the room, and when they was uploading the jump to YouTube or whatever, the FBI agent was like, oh, I know Lil Bobo and Lil JoJo. I did a case with both of them on or whatever in the past or whatever. And it's just crazy. Like, I already knew, like, these people was going to get caught because my mom worked for the CIA for 39 years. It's no way in hell this would have happened to somebody like that. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, are you crazy? Are you dumb? Like, so just thank God, fortunate, somebody, knew who they was in authority that could put all that together. Because at this point, I didn't know no Lil JoJo or Lil Bobo. So the detective, I guess the next day, go to Lil JoJo little JoJo mother house and asked, "Do you know who this is in the video?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my son, little JoJo, and that's his friend, little Bobo." So he was like, "Okay, they need to come to the question." It was an incident that happened, at a nightclub or whatever. Yeah, they need to come in. So so her son comes in, and basically they asked him the question, "Okay, what you did at the club?" He tried to say, "Oh, my cousin, I hit up my cousin and she picked me up, and I went to her house, and she picked me up at the bottom of the hill. I went to her house, we drove at the bottom of the hill. I went to her house when she picked me up or whatever. She stayed with my grandma." And then the driver was like, "Yeah," and the driver, he left from there or whatever. I don't know what he did. So that he was basically trying to get himself out the club. He was like, "Okay," they asked him, "Where's your cell phone at?" He was like, "Oh, I lost my cell phone at the gym yesterday or whatever." And it was like, "Okay, what color was what's the name of the gym?" He couldn't say what name was the gym. Then they said, then they say, he then asked, "Oh, what color was the gym?" He couldn't answer that question. So it was like easy questions. In the affidavit, they say that he couldn't answer whatever. So he then asks, "Oh, do your mom might have, since you can't give me, your cousin's number, because since you don't have your phone, you don't know off the top of your head, do your mom might know?" Because his mom went to the interrogation with him. And then he was like, "Nah, she don't deal with that side of the family for real, or whatever. She don't know them or whatever like that. She probably don't have it." The detective was like, "Screw that. Okay, we done. If you want to end the, interrogation, that's cool." Then he asked his mom, "Oh, do you have, his cousin number you talking about?" She's like, "Oh, I sure do." And gave the number. Shout out to Mom Dukes. So, boom. So, the detective then they called the number, and on the voicemail it confirmed it was his cousin that he said that picked him up. So boom, that was that. They end that. So now something that happened that don't even that in the affidavit it said that don't even look how God works. It said as far as they also let in the word that the driver needs to come down too. So I guess they asked for the driver to come down through the passenger, little Bobo. So or little JoJo, I forget which one said, but little JoJo, little Bobo. So he comes down to questioning probably like a couple days later too. And he was more evasive with the questions that they were asking. So he ends the whole thing too. His whole thing, he was trying to say in his interrogation, "Oh, after little JoJo got out the car or whatever with his cousin, I went this way on the highway to catch the highway. I made an illegal left to hit the highway or whatever." But none of the videos show that. It shows them going down the hill, making a U-turn, and going back up, making another U-turn, parallel parking, waiting for 15 minutes, and then when I step off, that's when they make another U-turn and basically shoot me. You see what I'm saying? So how I'm trying to get at? So boom. So he tried to say that's his route that he do or whatever. Why they also had that they knew that was a lie, because after the shooting took place, how the car that they was in that they couldn't prove yet, but look how God works. It got a ticket. They searched all of the stuff. They did the thing off of 31 Bridges or whatever that movie called, when the people ran the light or whatever, and they took a picture and they had to went back and get the surveillance or whatever. That's basically what it is. They got a speeding ticket on a whole nother street that he said that he didn't take or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So that was a lie or whatever. So boom. So they basically got enough evidence, but they still just building the case, right? So look at this. So they didn't. The thing about it is they couldn't get the actual license plate number from in front of the club. or whatever. They couldn't. They got the car and stuff, but they couldn't make out the license plate. So they was banking on that. Hold up, let's make sure that this car that got a ticket that matches the description of their car is that same car. So why on a separate issue that don't got nothing to do with my situation? Why the driver was somewhere and it had got raided? Not for him, for somebody he was dealing with, I guess. So he was there. Long story short, he's still in the car. What he did, the thing to me with. So the cops, they asking questions. I guess they asked, who car is this? He says, my car or whatever. They take pictures of the license plate. Since he said that's his car, and they got video footage of the car on the street that he said he wasn't. They got the speeding ticket or whatever. So it's like that matches you to that car. So how you gonna match up? You saying you took this street, but how you took this other street? Like, why you lying? You see what I'm saying? And we got video footage of you not making an illegal left to hit the highway. You made a U-turn and you went up and, like I said, made all these U-turns, waited for 15 minutes, made another U-turn, shot me up. So boom. So they get that evidence. Soon as they got that, that was enough that they had to, to get a warrant to, get him. So they end up getting locked up. So the detective finally comes to me, and I'll never forget, the DA and the detective come in, and then my mom comes and they tell, yeah, we got him or whatever, and my mom started crying and stuff. I'm just like, they just don't know. Like, I still hadn't ate at this point, nothing, or drunk nothing. They had me on this thing called TPN, and that's when they feeding you nutrients through your veins or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a feeding tube, which I got later, like 4 months later. I was in the hospital for 6 months. I was in the hospital from December all the way to May. Okay? So, so basically, they called him or whatever. So then he comes out and finally gives me the real name. So he said, yeah, little Bobo, little JoJo name is this and that. Do you know them? I'm like, no, they already, and then they showed me the video too, and I'm like, I don't know them. I think they did show me the video, and I was like, yeah, I don't know them better for real name. I don't have no problems without King's Dominion with no little JoJo and little Bobo, and so that was that. So around that time, that's when I was just about to, let me see. So that was in February. January, February, March. So in March is when so February they got locked up. A month later, I go to rehab or whatever. So now I got a little bit of time. I'm trying to, slowly, try to figure out who these people are because they finally got their real names. So I'm searching on Facebook, whatever. So fast forward, I get out the hospital. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, every day I had like endless doctors and stuff. I was in the ICU. First of all, let's backtrack in a little bit. From December, January, February, I was in ICU. Then March, I went to the burn unit. So it took me forever to even get to the burn unit. You see what I'm saying? And so when I get to the burn unit, I'm there for like a month, and then that's when I transferred to the rehab. 6 months. I got out like right after my mom's birthday, or whatever in May. So I got out in like mid-May or something like that. So 6 months. I'm in the hospital, not knowing why I got shot. It's just a quick transition. You was at a club, normal night, cigarette, in the hospital, breathing tube, you been shot. I don't even know how many times I've been shot at a time. I think probably like by the time I got to I asked how many times I got shot probably like in January, because I'm looking at all my wounds and stuff like that. Like, they left me open and stuff like that, and I had a wound vac for a while. No, for the whole time, for real, until it got to that. And what a wound vac is, it's like basically like a Ziploc junk that they put on you, and they got like a vacuum that's like pulling to like try to like keep the blood or something pumping and like keeping it restrained or whatever, and it makes your wounds heal quicker. So I had that thing on for like probably like 2 months or something. They would have to change that thing. It hurt so bad, it was so sticky, and that's why they was giving me that fentanyl. And I was pressing that button too much, like I said. But I think that's it for part one. I'm going to leave it up to. I survived the hospital. Also, within that hospital, let me end it on this. I actually died in one of my surgeries. And it wasn't even no major surgery. It was a surgery on one of my legs or whatever. And they was like doing like some kind of cosmetic surgery, and they gave me the wrong anesthesia that they don't supposed to give to somebody who has spinal cord injury. And basically I coded. I died for like 10 minutes. But some people don't understand, like, it's not just okay, you get shot and you survive a gunshot. You got also survive like error with hospital and stuff. People can mess up something or whatever. And I could have ended up way down because I went in cardiac arrest. So it's like I went through that also in the hospital. I'm not trying to leave nothing out. Like, if y'all want to hear the story, y'all got to hear the story. So I also caught like some kind of contagious bug or something. I don't know if it was from the dirty bullets or like the hospital. Something that they, I forget, I think it's called CTR or something like that. It's like a virus or something that you can catch while being in the hospital. And since I was having all these surgeries and this and that, I ended up catching that like before. Oh yeah, and this is before COVID. When I got shot, this is right before COVID. And I always felt like, man, when I heard, and it's crazy because the first week, it's like in December, I remember like my mom was looking at the news and it was talking about, oh, it's a virus out China, da, 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 da. I was like, oh yeah, it's the end of the world. They done shot Carter and God is mad or something. They just messed up some kind of riff that was here, and everybody had to go down. I was in a hospital and wasn't having no fun. Everyone had to basically go in the house, and it's crazy. People, like, since I had caught that contagious thing or whatever, they had to come in my room with like the whole suit on, had to wear masks and all that. So it was like COVID in my room before it was even COVID. And so like COVID, when they finally came over here, and then everyone had to be locked down around February, March. I couldn't have no visitors or nothing like that. And it was just crazy. It was like my mom was sitting there in the hospital with me for like literally, she was there for like 16 hours out the day, for real, like seriously. Or maybe even more than that. She would like 20 hours out of the day. She would go home for like 4 hours to go to sleep and come back or something like that. And it was just crazy. She was doing that every day, and then they tell her she can't do that. She was mad. They was like, man, sorry, Miss Carter, we're gonna have to kick you out. You know, it's COVID, and they changing the policies. So when they transferred that or whatever, when I was going to rehab, like that 1 month, that March month, that's when I couldn't, like that mid-March, that's when they stopped visitation or whatever. And so she was at home FaceTiming me, and that was that. But that's basically like the gist of the story or whatever. I survived the hospital, all that trials and tribulations in the hospital, going through all these different doctors. Like, one thing about it, when you're in a hospital, you got different doctors. Like, you got the foot doctor, you got the plastic surgery doctor, you got the kidney doctor, you got the gastro doctor, you got like all these doctors. So I seen trauma doctors. You'll see every single doctor on the list I had. I was even on dialysis. I can't leave that out. I'm trying to write this out. But I was even on dialysis. I remember being on dialysis. Like that's, I felt like I was about to die one time on dialysis. I remember it was doing this thing, cleaning the blood or whatever it does, and I remember I snapped down, and they was watching a movie, and it was a little bit of tense. I remember when the movie was like, take him out, and it was like all these graphics I'm getting the dialysis. I was like, take him out, take him out. And I felt like, whew, like that. I kind of did the little drunk dip all blackout almost. And then they start calling my name, and I was just following my name to get out of where I was about to go. Like, I felt me going, and like he pressed the button, I guess, for my blood to go back into my system. I told him thank you. He was like, no, thank you, because I know he didn't want that. Someone down on the watch doing the dialysis and stuff. I'm having all these surgeries. I remember even one part that I was fiending for blood. Like, I could taste, and they gave me some blood. I asked for some blood. They gave me some blood in that joint. I felt like a vampire. Like, I couldn't drink nothing. It just felt like I need more nutrients. So I just felt like I lost so much blood. And I asked for some blood. They gave me some blood up in that joint, man. It's just so much. Y'all have no more. But, man, this is called A Beat, man. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to try to edit this. I'm trying to knock these joints out, man. Because for real, I'm trying to put this behind me, for real. A lot of people be asking me what happened or whatever. I just want something that everybody can just go to if you want to know or whatever. Because everybody say me, dang, Carter don't do nothing to nobody. And why somebody going to shoot him 11 times? He got to be in a wheelchair. He lost half. Oh, yeah, I lost half a leg, if you don't know. Also, I lost half a leg. Or whatever. I don't know if the camera can get it. If I back up a little, well, whatever. We get to that in another jump. Part 2 show, lost half of a leg or whatever. So I got 1.5 a leg. It's like I don't deserve that. So a lot of people been asking. This is not no gloating about, oh, I've been shot 11 times. Like, I wish it never happened. You know what I'm saying? I just look at myself now and the things that I was doing before, and I was trying to get to this level, like what I'm doing with my music and stuff. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out GoGo of Everything. That's my company or whatever that I started up or whatever to be influenced with GoGo, with my GoGo remixes and stuff that I'm doing now and stuff or whatever. So grab a shirt. I'm going to put the link down in the caption or whatever. So make sure you do that. Support. I'm trying to get to Panama or one of these places. I even just found out that China's doing something, but this scientist in China is trying to get something approved from the FDA, and basically like stem cells or whatever that can regrow or whatever that they have that's going on, that's making spinal cord injury people that can't walk, because spinal cord injury walk again, and they having high success rates, like 15 out of 20 people that had spinal cord injuries for a super long time. You know what I'm saying? That the chances of them walking again is never, you know what I'm saying? Because the longer it takes, the longer the damage is done, the harder it is to repair. So, like, they took the worst of the worst situations, and out of the worst of the worst situations, they got 15 out of 20. So technology is growing day by day. I talked to some other stem cell people, and he was like, yeah, back in the day, like, probably if this was like, 20 to 15 years ago, I'd probably be like, it's no hope. But the science that they have today, yeah, you're gonna be able to able to walk again in your future for sure. So that's that. I'm gonna leave it right there. This is Carter Beat. How I got shot 11 times, part 1. Next thing would be why I got shot. I'm gonna get a little bit more detail. Again, not saying no names. Lil Jojo, Lil Bobo from Kingston, Michigan, or whatever. Shout out to anybody who like Kingston Million or work at Kingston Million, that go hard for Kingston Million. This is not against you. I'm just using that as a placeholder, and I'm out.